Hello and welcome to my product drive session. So I'm going to talk about the product market fit for enterprise, how to achieve it, so we'll go into some practice. My name is Dmitry Borodin, and for the past 12 years I've been working in different product management related capacities, with the past 6 years serving in the VP of product or Chief Product Officer roles. And during this almost all 12 years, I've been dealing with enterprise customers in this or that sense, and developed some methods and some intuition on what works and what doesn't work, so what you should do, what you shouldn't do to achieve product market fit. So I'm going to share my experience in this talk. So buckle up and let's go. So what we will cover specifically, why product market fit for enterprise is different from product market fit for B2C or small B2B. Then we'll focus on a couple of methods actually to achieve it. So one is doing service with a similar value proposition to your product. And second one it's my favorite, is creating a prototype, a working demo prototype. And of course, we'll conclude with how to detect that you achieved product market fit for enterprise. So, taking one step back, the goal of the product market fit is to get from your product idea to the first product revenue. And you want to do it without burning too much money up front. So I assume you've got some product budget, and you need to unlock this product market fit before the money runs out, and preferably you need to have some buffer even when you unlock it. You can actually see it quite well illustrated on this graph. And another goal is to sell to your early adopters. So this is this cold phase. Okay, you don't have customers yet, but you need to somehow break the ice in this cold start. So about product market fit for enterprise. So when we are looking at PMF framework for B2C, at the heart lies customer interviews. So you talk to the users, you get some feedback, you try your hypothesis, and that's working. When we switch to the enterprise context, the situation is different. You've got very complex landscape of stakeholders. You need somehow to reach them, you need to talk to them, you need to navigate. So in this example, it's even, I would call it a simplified one. You've got many actors. You've got R&D, engineering, IT security, OT security, and so on. And they may not be talking to each other. Some of them may not be users. Some of them may be users. Others will be influencers, and they will be buyers. And you need to understand who is who. So it's not enough to just reach, I'm reaching R&D data scientists, I get really nice feedback, and they even love the ideas. It's solving their problems, so they've got this already. They're falling in love with your potential future product, but you won't get a buy-in, so they won't get a budget. So in this case, the complexity lies in two things. So one thing, the landscape is complex, so you need to understand, and you need actually to map it and to develop some strategy on how you can penetrate it. And another one, as these users are not easily accessible. So you can't walk into the bar and talk to them, you can't try them on Facebook, on LinkedIn, so you really need to find some ways to drag them and to talk to them about the business. So they won't be, for example, they are under NDA, so they just can't talk to strangers. So this is the problem that you need to crack. And option one for hacking that is to sell a service project. In my experience, it worked. Of course, it's not a silver bullet, but it worked, and it worked for many companies, for what I was able to observe on the market. So what are key things there? First, it's a similar value proposition to your target product. So you're selling something, so you're selling a solution to some problem or to achieve some project, and it needs to target gathering really precious feedback. So project gives you the way to penetrate the customer, so penetrate the enterprise defense, enterprise complexity, and talk directly to the stakeholders. And not just talk. So one thing is talking, another thing is you will actually be solving problems, you will be actually doing things in this enterprise context. So you will be achieving something. So this feedback is a really hands-on field feedback. And the assumption there is that a project or service is much easier to sell than a product. So product is a long-term commitment, sorry. So if we are talking about the software as a service model or any other subscription model, and project is one time. So one time there can be budgets sitting in different divisions, and it may not require the decision of some top management, which otherwise would have been required for the product. So here's an example, as my past 6 years are in the IoT or industrial IoT context, so the examples you can guess where they are coming from. So okay, let's imagine we need to reduce the pump maintenance cost through some condition monitoring. So there, okay, you can sell that project for some specific set. It can be, the project can be well scoped. Okay, you have, for example, an office building with 5 pumps connected, 5 water pumps, and yeah, you need to avoid that the office building gets water stoppage. So no water shortages are allowed, or they're reduced as much as possible, and the cost and the maintenance cost also goes optimal. So what do we have as a project details? So first you install vibration sensors, so to collect some data. Then you get some solution, probably coming with even sensor manufacturer, some IoT platform that collects data from these sensors, and this data is being observed, and some potential malfunctions are being detected with probably some simple enough analytics. And what you aim to learn through such a project? Okay, one is you need to validate product hypothesis. Then you gain obviously integration experience, which you might really need for your future product. Even if your business model is targeting working with integrators, you still need this experience firsthand. So you need to, as a product person, you need to know everything. Then, of course, the stakeholder landscape. So it will really help you dive into this stakeholder landscape in some typical customer. Even if every enterprise is different, still there are some similarities. So you can understand, okay, there are engineers, there are managers, there are R&D, and so on. So you can map, you can gain experience on how to talk to them, who can be a decision maker, and so on. So you'll get really good preparation for your product. And of course, project, last but not least, can be a potential good product start. So you can really lay foundation for your future product. With experience, you can see, okay, these parts probably can be productized within the project context. These parts we can plan, so you can already have a nice roadmap as an outcome of such project. Now let's go a bit different. So okay, if not selling a project, you can actually build and sell a prototype. Prototype is something else. I'm myself a builder, so I really love building things, organizing teams to do so, building teams. So that's why it's my favorite. Though of course, from the business point of view, you need really to make informed decision. So prototype, or some people would use the word mockup, not in the sense of UI mockups, but a mockup that can show and demonstrate things. So the prototype needs to enable you telling a good story you want your product to be. Then of course it's coming together. It needs to be able to play some relevant demo scenarios for the target customer segments. Then of course it would be really nice if it can articulate some unique value propositions or unique selling points for your product. It can be something like good cost, it can be fast setup, broad stakeholder coverage, some artificial intelligence, you name it. There are a lot of even generic ones which can make a difference. And of course it can serve as some sort of PRD in action. So it will really help you unroll your roadmap once you have a prototype that you like. Let's look how you can do it. Let's look practically. Okay, first option, you can take third-party software. So imagine you want to build something like an IoT platform. Sorry, I'm still in the I'm still in this mindset. And okay, you need to show a demo. How you can do it? You can take some existing third-party software, even something probably you can find open source. You can look, okay, it can be white labeled. So what you do, you adapt it to your needs. Probably there is some even solution accelerator. So you build something, and for example, okay, you do a pump demo. So you build something for the pumps. Okay, you know pump. You did your homework, and then you can do some data generation in the ecosystem of that software. And then you can demo it with highlighting this demo story, value proposition, and all these things. And another choice is to develop it yourself. As you can guess now, this one is particularly my favorite. I would love to build these things, and I did that in the past. So what is a self-built prototype? It's some solution that looks and works almost like it was a production one. Then it has a way more broad functionality than your first versions of the product. So it's like almost everything is there, at least publicly. So at least on the front end. Of course, on the back end it's different. And yes, it's important to emphasize that it's not an MVP. It's not a minimal viable product. Prototype is really a prototype, so you know where to click. Your peers know where to click. Customers, external people shall not be able to click or should not click or do it only limited. So this is a prototype. It may not work behind the scenes, but it needs to show as it was working. And MVP, on the other hand, is a really production product. So it's a production grade offering. How can you develop a self-built prototype? So one option is use an outsourcing company. There are plenty of those, and I think it's really good to do so. And many companies successfully choose this way. So you can have a project for a few months, but one important hint: don't try to write some requirements, give it to them, and then come back to check in 3 months. Do follow up every day, because it's your prototype, so you are building it as a person. Probably it's like it will evolve daily. So once a couple of things are built, then you evolve and you build on top. Another one can be a freelance developer. So in this case, I would emphasize, okay, for like if we look into the SAS context, it can be more front end or full stack with the front end focus, because that's where you need to show and demonstrate things, not really develop something complicated on the back end. And yeah, of course, another option can be you can do it yourself if you are skilled enough and you have time, so you can develop yourself. If you can combine that. And important to scope it in time, so that it takes 1, 2, probably 3 months maximum, so that you don't overshoot the budget and you don't overshoot the momentum. So it needs a clear purpose. And here's an example. So an example of a prototype. I took a third-party dashboard from the web and citing the source, because I don't want to violate any NDA by showcasing my work. So in this case, the same pump maintenance, and here you can see, okay, dashboard acts as a fundamental. So what you need to do is you need to build a dashboard. Most likely it will be much better to tell the story if the dashboard has live data, so it's fluid. And this data can be generated directly on the front end, so your front end developer can put all the formulas to do that, so to simulate the pump, and it will work like charm, so no issues with internet connectivity, so it will work in your browser, so you can show it. Yes, you can plant in some failures so that the software actually predicts these failures. You can even link SMS and email notifications. So this can be done easily with today's services, and that's it. So you can go with such kind of dashboard. You can go to the fairs. You can use them in pre-sales. So this pre-sales, for example, people click on the request demo button on your website, and you show it. You demonstrate. You show a demo case. You gather immediate feedback. So there, what is important, you need to hook. You need to hook your potential customers, their users, probably their buyers, and yes, this is the very important step. So the people see something. So you are not just showing slides or telling your vision. You're telling a story. So you're illustrating your vision with a demonstration. You can be honest. You don't name it a prototype. You can be honest and transparent enough, saying it's an early stage development, but that's what we've got. And okay, it may sound risky. Okay, you say, okay, we sell that, and where do we end up if we are bought? So basically, we don't have anything. Well, in the enterprise specifics, usually you've got time. Sales cycles are long, so something to close formally, it may take a few months. Then the project, you can also scope some schedule. You can really plan it well, so you can buy yourself like half a year, probably. I won't say easily, but it's quite realistic. And then in this half year, yes, you'll need to ramp up your dev team, your dev capacity, and there you can also use for some first version that serves well the first early adopter. You can do it quite okay. And okay, we go back to our goal. We need to achieve the product market fit. But how do you know when you see it? Okay, it's like there is a saying about love. You know love when you see it. But okay, in product market fit, actually you can feel it, but there are a couple of indicators you can look at. So one metric is recurring revenue. So you need to achieve recurring revenue, but in the enterprise it can be a trap, because okay, you can sell something and it may not be used. So in this case, it means it won't be long lived. So what you need to really focus on as a second metric is the usage. So to see that your product is really being used, and you need to follow up that it's solving what it is bought for, or probably not. So you need to closely monitor and follow up, and of course ensure that it stays used, and ideally that it grows. So in this case, success is imminent. So let's conclude. So product market fit for enterprise is different. So it's different from B2C, it's different from small B2B, and you need special approaches to hack it. The good news is it's achievable. So you can at least use or take inspiration from two methods. So you can self-service, sell projects one time, and you can build and sell prototypes. So these techniques are complementary. So you can gather feedback by both, and you can really get a good picture to navigate the context. And here are my contact details. So I'm always happy to discuss this product market fit, any product topics. So just reach out and we can have a chat. So one of the channels. So I thank you very much for watching my session, and I really hope you found it useful. Bye and good luck with the product drive.